Hi, I'm Bob the Canadian, and welcome to this English lesson about celebrities. This is something I don't actually know a lot about, but I will do my best to teach you a few things about celebrities and about people who are rich. I'm not rich. Some of you think I'm becoming a celebrity because I have 500,000 subscribers now, but I don't feel that way. I'm just a guy who likes to make videos for you so that you can learn more English. Celebrities. So for some reason in this world, we are fascinated with people who are famous, who are popular, who are rich. So I thought I should do an English lesson about some of the words and phrases we use when we talk about celebrities. You can see right here, I have a picture of Beyonce. I do have to say when I start this that most of the celebrities that I will talk about will either be American or well-known world celebrities. I know your country will have its own celebrities. I will not be talking about the celebrities in countries like Chile or Ukraine because I'm not familiar with who your celebrities are. So I apologize. This is going to be a very North American look at the world of celebrity. I think most of the celebrities I've chosen you will know. I did pick a few from other countries that I was aware of, but I'm not going to just talk about celebrities, though. I'm going to talk about the words and phrases that we use when we talk about celebrity. Let me just adjust something here, and let's get started with the lesson. First of all, there's Kanye West. I'm not sure if you know who Kanye West is, but let's talk about the word celebrity. When someone has many articles in the newspaper, when someone is in the news a lot, when someone releases a lot of songs or stars in a lot of movies, and when someone is just familiar to everyone, we call them a celebrity. They live a celebrity lifestyle, but we would call them a celebrity. So Kanye West, in most parts of the world, mostly just North America, if you say Kanye, you don't even need to say his last name. So you could say that his name has become a household name. This is a term we sometimes use in English to describe someone who is very famous. This is BTS. If you're from South Korea, you will know who this is. If you're from some parts of the world other than North or South Korea, you will also know who BTS is. They are quite famous in the world. But I wanted to talk about the word. I'm having trouble speaking English this morning. Sorry about that. I will slow down and speak as clearly as possible. I wanted to talk about the word famous versus fame. So when you are famous, you have fame, okay? So a lot of people want fame in the world. They want to be famous. So notice a little difference there between how you use the two words. When someone is very famous, then everyone knows who they are. They have a lot of fame. You could also say that they are well known. This is Matt Damon. He's one of my favorite actors, movie actor. When someone is famous, you could also describe them as being well known. So this is the well-known actor, Matt Damon. You can see I use the term in a sentence there. He is well known for many roles in many movies, including The Martian, which is one of my favorite books and movies. Matt Damon doesn't star in the book, though. Sorry, you can't star in a book. That was just a little joke to make myself laugh. And I also saw Ashraf Hussan say, Bob is our rock star in the chat. And that made me giggle as well. Thank you, Ashraf, for the compliment. That's very good. Lolly in the chat is saying Kanye West is going to be president of the United States. I don't know. Let's ask Brent in the chat for his opinion on that. But yeah, I'm not sure what will happen in that country. I just live on top of it in Canada. Of course, this is the Kardashians, and I wanted to go over the term rich and famous. So we sometimes refer to celebrities as the rich and famous. We use both words to describe them. This is a very common term. I think there was even a television show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. But if you are one of the rich and famous, it means two things. It means you have a lot of money, and most of the world knows who you are. So the term rich and famous. Let's see here. Just a reminder again in the chat, just have conversations with each other. It makes for a wonderful experience for you. I, of course, when there are almost 300 people watching, I don't have time to answer the chat. It's a challenge for me. But please, if you have questions, use the form to ask them. This is an older term, the jet set. This isn't used as much in English anymore, but a long time ago, well, it's still used a little bit, but this refers to the people who their primary mode of travel is to fly in a private jet. So we would call them the jet set. I think this term was a little more popular in the 80s, maybe in the 90s, but you still might hear it every once in a while on television or in a movie, the jet set. And then we just use the word popular. Like, oh, she's really popular right now. This is Oprah Winfrey. She is a very popular TV personality in the United States. When we say someone is popular, it means a lot of people know who they are. We also use the term popular when we talk about kids in school, especially in high school. We'll say, oh, that kid is very popular, or that person is very popular. So when you're popular, it means a lot of people know who you are. And you can see this is where the term pop music comes from, popular music, pop music. Because it is the kind of music that's very, very popular. The public eye. So the public is all of us, okay? So you have famous people, and then you have the public. Sometimes we say the general public. That just refers to all the people in the world. But celebrities live in the public eye, okay? So we refer to the way they live as being in the public eye, because it's very difficult for someone who is rich and famous to just go to the grocery store. It's very difficult for them to go for a walk in their neighborhood because there are often people who want to meet them or take pictures of them. So they live in the public eye. Currently, I know Prince Harry he moved to Canada and then he moved to Los Angeles. And he's very much living in the public eye right now. I think it's very challenging for rich people. And although they have lots of money, it still can be challenging to live in the public eye. And then we have the word renowned. So when someone is renowned, it means that they're known for something. This is Albert Einstein. He was a renowned scientist. He was involved in researching things like nuclear fusion. Fusion? Look it up. I'm not a scientist. But he was renowned. Sometimes you'll hear about someone who is a renowned artist or a renowned author. It means that they've done a lot of work in their life that has made them recognizable or somewhat popular. So they are renowned. Let me go one more slide. Actually, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to go to some questions. I think this is Shurah Khan. If you're from India, you will know better than me. Bollywood creates a lot of movies. I've watched a few. They are really, really good. So there are a lot of different ways to become a celebrity. You become good in one of the following jobs, I guess, or fields. You become a movie star like Shurah Khan, or actor. So you could say, oh, he's a famous movie star, or he's a famous actor. And then just so you know, we've started to use the word actor to refer to both male and female actors. We do use the word actress sometimes still, but generally, you can say things like Charlize Theron is an actor. That's fine to say. Even though she's a woman, you can still say she's an actor. And you can use actress, but I think we're trying to become more gender neutral in how we refer to people. So I am going to pause for a sec and say welcome to the 400 people watching. Awesome that you're here. If you are new, you should click the subscribe button. That's always a good thing to do. And thumbs up are good too. This is a duo from France, actually. Their names are Big Flo and Ollie. So I don't know if Lolly Lolly is familiar with Big Flo and Ollie. But you can become famous by being a pop star or a rock star or a pop singer or a musician or a rapper or a music artist. There are a lot of different terms, but just as you can become famous by being in movies, you can also become famous by creating music. So I'm just waiting to see in the chat if Lolly recognizes Big Flo and Ollie. I was going to put a picture of Vianney, but I thought, I don't know, I like Vianney's music a lot, but maybe nobody would know who he was. You might just be an influencer. So this is Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez obviously has a huge music career as well, but she's also one of the top influencers in the world. That means that on Instagram and maybe other social media platforms, she has many, many followers. Okay. So she obviously became famous because she has excellent musical talents, but she also has an enormous following on social media. So we could refer to her as a musician or a singer, but we could also refer to her as an influencer because she has so many people who do follow her. For sure. Lolly Lolly says yes in the chat. So big shout out to France, and their music is awesome. I listen to quite a bit of it. You, I hope this I hope this picture doesn't cause a fight in the chat. But you also can become famous, maybe rich and famous, by playing a sport professionally. So you might be a professional athlete. So I'm not sure if you know who these guys are. If you watch football or soccer in the world, though, you will know who they are. Ronaldo and Messi, and there's always a controversy, right, about who is the better player. But you can become rich and famous. You can become rich, you can become famous, or both, by playing a professional sport. So the sports that pay the best are probably football, soccer, and then a lot of the American sports pay really well. So if you can play in the National Football League, or if you can play in the National Hockey League, or if you can play in the NBA, or if you can play in the, did I get them all? Oh, Major League Baseball. So there are a number of ways, depending on what country you are in and what sport is the most popular. But you can definitely become rich and famous by playing a sport. You might become famous or rich and famous because you are a TV personality. This is Graham Norton from the UK. A TV personality. By the way, this is a pretty cool talk show. If you are looking to improve your British English, or if you are practicing that type of English, this is a great show to watch. I sometimes watch it myself, and it's a lot of fun. But you can become rich and famous if you are a TV personality, either on a talk show or on a reality TV show or on just a regular scripted television show. You would be referred to as a TV personality. You might be a late night talk show host, like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. Those are two American late night talk show hosts. And that might be another way that you become rich and famous. You don't become rich and famous teaching English on YouTube, but it's a lot of fun. So I wanted to talk about the difference between comedian and comic, because I think some people get confused with the two. So this is Chris Rock. So when you go to a club and someone stands up front with a microphone and tells jokes, we would call them a stand-up comic, okay? Some people will call them a stand-up comedian, so you can use them interchangeably. Technically, that person would be a stand-up comic or a comic. A comedian would be someone who acts in little sketches or plays to make you laugh on a show more like Saturday Night Live. But I will tell you this, we use these words kind of interchangeably. So another way to become rich and famous is, of course, to be funny. Funny people generally get lots of laughs, and then they can usually become rich and famous if they can make people laugh regularly. Maybe you are a CEO. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and a few other companies. A CEO is the chief executive officer of a company. So especially in North America, and maybe in your countries as well, people who rise to positions of power in different companies sometimes can become famous. Elon Musk is actually quite well known. He's quite famous. He's not an actor. He's not a rock star. He's not he's not a famous artist. He's famous because he's really good at inventing things and making companies profitable. I think it's profitable right now. Tesla, we'll see. But CEO, that is another one. The late Steve Jobs, that's another example of someone who became very popular and very famous by starting a company. Bill Gates, who started the company Microsoft, is another example of someone who became famous because of the things that they created and the things that they sold. You might become famous because you are a politician. So this is, of course, Donald Trump. He has become famous for a variety of reasons. One, he was already rich. Two, he became a TV personality on the show. I can't remember the name of the show right now. Maybe Brent can remind me of the name of the show where Donald Trump would fire people. The Apprentice, that's what it was called. So he was already rich. He became more famous because he was a TV personality. And then he has become even more well-known and more famous because he is the current president of the United States. So he's used a number of different routes in order to become rich and famous. I think his wealth, though, came from his parents. I think his parents were actually rich. You might be famous because you're royalty. So there are a number of countries in the world that still have a royal family. One of those countries is Great Britain. And so this is Queen Elizabeth. So you might be famous. You might be rich and famous because you were born into the royal family of a specific country. There are royal families in a number of countries in the world. The one most familiar to me is the royal family that Queen Elizabeth is the head of. And we were excited because Harry and Meghan moved to Canada, but they did have to move to LA for a little bit. So hopefully they come back to Canada. But they're not part of the royal family anymore. They decided to step away from being part of the royal family. So I know there are other royal families in the world, but certainly royalty is a way to become rich and famous. It's probably the easiest way and the hardest way. Like if you're born into a royal family, it's really easy. You're not in a royal family, not going to happen for you. Karlie Kloss is a fashion model. So another way to gain fame, another way to be popular or to be well known is to become a fashion model. Fashion models usually show off new clothing lines. They show off the latest styles at fashion shows. They would walk the runway and they would show off what new designs fashion designers are creating. So there are fashion models from all over the world, and generally they can become quite famous as a fashion model. If you're famous, let me make this bigger. Sometimes you have an entourage. There was actually an entire television show called Entourage. An entourage would be the people who hang out with you because you are rich and famous. So they're kind of like friends, but in a way, they're kind of like friends who only hang out with you because you're rich, maybe. Anyways, you will have a group of people around you, and you might call them an entourage. So one thing that helps people stay rich once they are famous is they get endorsements or brand deals. One of the most famous ones in the United States is something called the Wheaties box. Now that kind of cuts it off a bit, but the Wheaties box is a kind of breakfast cereal, and they usually have a professional athlete on the Wheaties box, and over the years it has been someone different. But basketball players usually try to get brand deals. They try to become someone who gets an endorsement. They start to endorse different products. So basketball players often endorse different basketball shoes from Nike, and those kinds of things. So one thing, once you are rich and famous, one way to stay rich and famous is to get brand deals. Usually when a famous person does something bad, they're usually worried they're going to lose their endorsements. They're going to lose their brand deals. And that does happen sometimes. So we have, good morning, I'm Edson. I'm Brazilian. Hi, Edson. Good to hear from you. And then Brent says, Alanis Morissette is also amazing. Yes, for sure. So just a few things here on how rich and famous people are different than the rest of us. They tend to live in a mansion, not a house. So most of us, normal people in the world, live in a house or an apartment. Rich people tend to live in mansions. So a mansion is a gigantic house. And then sometimes they have, if they are American, they might have a house on the West Coast and on the East Coast, because cities like New York and cities like Hollywood specialize in entertainment. And so sometimes they'll have a house in both places. And it might be a mansion in both places if they have lots of money. Sometimes they live on a private island. I think Johnny Depp, the actor, has a private island. I'm not sure. But yes, sometimes they live on a private island. Let's see here. Sometimes they have a yacht instead of a boat. They might still have a small boat, but generally the richer you are, you tend to buy bigger and more luxurious things. So for instance, they might have a luxury car or a fancy sports car or a high-end sports car. They usually don't have a minivan, although some do. You know, some celebrities, some rich and famous people are married with kids, and they might have a minivan in order to drive around with their kids. Let's see here. Or they might ride around in a limousine. So a limousine is, the short form would be a limo. So sometimes a rich or famous person might arrive somewhere in a limo. So it's the short version of limousine. They sometimes fly around in a private jet. When I fly somewhere, I fly in the normal jet, the normal airplane. I don't fly business class. I don't fly first class. I just fly as a normal person. I can't afford all of those expensive things, but they might fly in a private jet. They might actually own a jet. Brent says the Washington football team had to change their name because they lost endorsements. So yes, currently in the United States, a lot of professional sports teams are using Native American names or terminology for their team name, and it's not considered cool anymore. So some teams are losing endorsements. Companies are saying, we no longer want to endorse you because we don't agree with what you're doing. So Washington is one of the teams that is changing their name. Lolly says, private island, my dream. Yeah, I just always wonder, if you live on a private island, is it hard to, let's go back. Is it hard to get groceries? Like how do you get groceries? I guess you jump in your yacht or your private jet and then you go get groceries, something like that. Madi says, by the way, what's the difference between palace and mansion? I think just size, Madi. I think a mansion is a house that's just really big, multiple rooms, multiple bathrooms. And then, certainly a palace is something more related to royalty. You know, if you're a king or queen or prince, you might live in a palace. And a palace is definitely bigger than a mansion. If you're a rock star, you might have a tour bus. So when you go on tour, when you go to different places to perform, you might go on a tour bus. And it's usually a bus that is like a home. So it's a bit like an RV, a recreational vehicle. But if you are rich and famous, you might have a tour bus. People are only celebrities because they have fans. So fans are people who like that person a lot. So here you see Prince Harry. I don't think we call him Prince Harry anymore, but we have Prince Harry, and there are all kinds of adoring fans. Sometimes we add the word adoring in front. So an adoring fan is someone who really loves the celebrity a lot. So here we have Prince Harry, and you can see that he has many, many adoring fans. Let me check the time here. Okay, we're good. We also have a term called fanboy. A fanboy is someone who really likes a certain company and the products they make. So if you know someone who only buys iPhones and doesn't buy Android, or you know someone who, let's see here, only buys Canon cameras and will never buy a Sony camera, you would say they're a fanboy. So there are a lot of Apple fanboys. These are people who only ever buy Apple products. There are a lot of Canon fanboys. These are people who only buy Canon products. It's kind of a slang term. It's a recent term. But a fanboy is someone who likes a company and the products that they make. Sorry, I have an itchy nose this morning. I know it's not nice to scratch my nose on camera. The paparazzi. So when you are really rich and really famous, actually famous more than rich, you might have people who are constantly trying to take your picture, or a picture of your wife, or a picture of your kids, because they know that if they get a picture of you, they can sell it. They can sell it to something called a tabloid. Tabloids are newspapers and websites now that specialize in news about celebrities. So often really, really famous people will have people with cameras follow them everywhere they go. They will have people with cameras outside their houses who are constantly trying to take a picture of them or their wife or their husband, depending on who they are, or their kids. And it's become even worse now because there are drones. So people have now started to use drones to try and get pictures of celebrities. So that is something that the paparazzi do. So paparazzi, probably an Italian word. Big shout out to Italy and all my Italian friends. Thanks for the word. And again, they like to sell that to the tabloids. Tabloids are newspapers that try to find information about really famous people so they can write news articles about them and then sell them to them. So they are always looking for pictures from the paparazzi. Here's Justin Bieber. When you are famous, we sometimes say that you are in the limelight. It's an older word, but you will still hear it. Actually, the band Rush has a great song called Limelight. You should listen to it. It's an older song. But when you live in the limelight, it means that you are in the public eye. When you're in the limelight, it means that you're currently famous. You're currently well known. So for instance, Justin Bieber, he was in the limelight for a long time. And then he was out of the limelight for a little bit because he wasn't making music and he wasn't doing any concerts. So sometimes people are in the limelight. Sometimes people are out of the limelight. It simply means whether you are in the public eye or out of the public eye. Let's see here. Lolly says, I don't like tabloids. I don't like gossip, even if it's juicy gossip. So excellent use of the word gossip there, Lolly. Gossip is fake news. Gossip is sometimes real news, but it's none of your business. But definitely tabloids write articles that are very much gossip. Let's see here. Sometimes we say that, I think it's Shakira and Beyonce. Sometimes we say that rich and famous people are living the dream. So sometimes people, they want to be rich and famous. And when they see someone who is rich and famous, they will say, oh, that person is living the dream. As if all of us want to be rich and famous. And so if you can become rich and famous, then you are living the dream. So you dream about it, you want it, you eventually become famous, and then you are living the dream. So yes, this is a young Matt Damon. So I wanted to talk about the phrase up and coming. When you say someone is up and coming, it means they are new at being an actor or a singer or a musician. So you might say, you know, this is a picture of Matt Damon when he was an up and coming actor. You might go see a band at a very small venue or just in a small bar, and it might be billed as this is an up and coming band. Okay. When you say something is billed as, it's called. So they might say, you know, this is a band, a rock band. They're new. They have one hit song. They are an up and coming band. That means we think they will be famous someday. Right now, they are just getting started. So this is an up and coming Matt Damon. Sometimes we say that a person or a song or even a video can be an overnight sensation. This means that it goes from not being well known to being well known. So Tones and I had a song, Dance Monkey. I'm not going to sing it. This song was kind of an overnight sensation here in Canada. I believe Tones and I is from New Zealand. I hope I'm correct there. Sorry, Tones and I, if you want. But the song wasn't popular. And then all of a sudden, you heard it everywhere. It was on the radio. It was on videos. It was, people were downloading it from Apple Music. So when something is not well known, or a person is not well known, and then very quickly they become popular and well known and famous, we would say that they are an overnight sensation, or you could say the song was an overnight sensation. Either way. Teacher Jose says, hi, Teacher Bob. I love this topic in the chat. No problem, Jose. Glad that you are enjoying it. And I do want to say hi to the over 500 people watching. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to click the red subscribe button. Click thumbs up if you're enjoying this video. And if you want to support my channel, click the join button down there somewhere. It's somewhere. It's maybe over there. Maybe it's over there. I'm not sure where it is. You might be familiar with the phrase to go viral. So I put a graph here of what go viral looks like. But when a song, or specifically a YouTube video, or a small clip on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, when it suddenly gets hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views, we say that it is going viral. Many people who make videos for YouTube always hope their video will go viral. I don't. I just like to make videos that everyone watches and likes. and that's good enough for me. But people often will want their video to go viral. It simply means that it becomes popular very, very quickly. And then this is Tom Brady, and I want to talk about the phrase "to get a lucky break." Sometimes when you are a professional athlete or a singer, you get a lucky break. A lucky break is when, let's say you are a singer and you really wanted to play at a certain venue and they didn't want you. And suddenly they call and say, the act we have booked for tonight, the band we have booked for tonight can't play. Can you come and play tonight? That would be a lucky break. I have Tom Brady here because I'm pretty sure Tom Brady, excellent quarterback in the National Football League, but he did get a lucky break in a certain game because the main quarterback got injured. Maybe Brent, are you familiar at all with the New England Patriots? I think Drew Bledsoe got injured and Tom Brady came in. That was a lucky break. If I'm wrong, sorry about that, but it's a good example anyways. Sometimes you become rich and famous because you have talent, but sometimes along the way you are helped out because you get a lucky break. Okay. It can happen a lot in sport. I'm sure there are many examples in football or soccer where a player came on the field because an older player got injured and they came on and they got a lucky break. They got in a game and they just excelled. So yeah, we should talk about the opposite of becoming rich and famous. So here are a few phrases you can use. Thanks, Brent. Yes, I'm a Patriots fan. You are correct. Drew Bledsoe. Yes. Yeah, I think I will actually watch that game, by the way. I do watch American football every once in a while. Anyways, you can become rich and famous. And sometimes at the other end of your life, you are no longer rich or famous. And so we have a few phrases here. The first is the phrase, let me reach up here, to go downhill. So if your career goes downhill or if your popularity goes downhill, when something goes downhill, it just means it is getting, there's just less of it. So if your career goes downhill, you are less popular. You can also fall out of favor with people. So sometimes a rich or famous person will say something horrible or they'll do something really bad and people don't like them anymore. We would say that they have fallen out of favor, or that they, if they do that, they are going to fall out of favor. So sometimes they do things like they get in a car accident and they were drinking, or they say something inappropriate in a text. We would say that they fall out of favor. That means people used to love them. Now people are like, whoa, I don't like this person as much, or I don't like this person at all. And then the last phrase, to be washed up. When you are washed up, it means that you aren't good at whatever you used to do that made you rich and famous. Okay. And it isn't just for famous people. Let's say my English lessons in 5 years were horrible. You would say, he's washed up. Let's say you are a football player and you can't run very fast. Maybe you're 52 years old and you're still playing football. People might say, he's washed up. He shouldn't be playing anymore. He's not like what he used to be. So that's what washed up is. Hopefully I'm not washed up yet. Hopefully I'm getting better with age. Like fine wine. Hopefully I'm getting better with age. This is my last slide, and then I'll do a few questions. I just wanted to talk about the word impersonator. So we have celebrity impersonators. We have people who impersonate famous people. These are people who are impersonating Elvis Presley. There are many, many Elvis impersonators in North America and in the world. In fact, I think they meet several times a year. This is probably, I can never point the right way. This is probably an Elvis impersonator convention. But we definitely have people who are impersonators. In fact, I do like, let me see, I do like Elton John. He is a singer, a very popular singer. But I did go to a concert once by an Elton John impersonator called Elton Ron. So Elton Ron is an Elton John impersonator here in North America. And he dresses like Elton John. His name kind of sounds like Elton John, right? His name was Elton Ron. And when he sang, he sounded a lot like Elton John. So it was really fun. We went with the kids a few years ago, actually on Canada Day. Elton Ron was the band or the person who sang before they did fireworks. So anyways, that was super, super fun.